European Central Bank President Mario Draghi. Well, while European economies are struggling, over in the US, the recovery is well underway. Companies are hiring at the fastest pace since the 2008 crisis. And a new report into the health of US companies is pretty positive. Victoria Fritz is in New York for us. Victoria, we like to talk about the health of corporate America here on World Business Report. And this article that you've been reading gives a big thumbs up, doesn't it, to the US economy?
It certainly does. Hello, Maryam. Yes, so this article states that companies in the S&P 500 have never been healthier, or at least not in several decades. They've seen better debt to earnings ratios, better cash positions, and that's really reflecting on the stock markets. We've seen the value of the S&P 500 rise 3 times since March 2009. When we're looking at manufacturing, now that is really being spurred on by the US becoming back on the scene as a major producer of oil. And all of that, it just goes to show really just how good companies are faring at the moment. You just have to look at the likes of GM, for example, seeing that it's got its investment grade status on its bonds reinstated last week, just 5 years really after that bailout that we saw back at the height of the financial crisis.
So how much credit, Victoria, do we have to give to the Obama administration for this, and how much credit do we give to the US Federal Reserve and the moves that it's been making over the last year or so?
Maryam, it's an interesting one because, of course, on one hand, you've got the Obama administration with $787 billion worth of stimulus spending, and also those car bailouts that not only bailed out the Midwest, but also all 50 states, really, when you think of all the supply chain. But on the other hand, you have the Federal Reserve, and that decision to lower rates, well, that has really driven the conditions for sustained recovery. And when you look at the US and you compare that to what's going on in Europe, and you were hearing earlier with Mario Draghi, and also with Japan, it is the only major economy that we're seeing still accelerating growth. At the moment, growth is, well, it's happening at about the same pace as March 2006. So it's really, really interesting times for the US economy. And when you're looking at consumers, they're back out in the shops. House building is on the rise again. And unemployment, well, it's at its lowest rate since 2008. We'll have more on that tomorrow.
And I'm sure you're back out in the shops with those consumers in New York, Victoria. Victoria Fritz, thank you very much indeed.